Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the March 6th meeting of the Board of Regents Committee on Academic and Student Affairs. It is March 6th. We're rapidly approaching St. Patrick's Day, which should mark the end of the heavy snow season in these parts. At least I'm hoping that will be the case. So again, welcome. We're going to have a revolving door situation here today. Regent James will be joining us at 10 o'clock, and Regent Porth will be leaving around 11 o'clock. So I would, with his permission, before we take the roll, I would like to have the ability to switch the agenda around as we go. There are items that require approval that we need to have at least 3 regents here for, and other items that are informational that it will be in the record, of course, but don't require. So we can do that with only 2 regents present. Regent Cummings is not coming. Will not be here today. So with Regent Porth's agreement, if I may, do I have permission to juggle the agenda?
I think that's a good plan, Ira. Thank you.
Thank you. Kaylee will be here to make sure that while I'm juggling, I don't drop any balls on my head or anyone else's. So that would be her responsibility. Okay. I hereby call the meeting to order. We can't approve the minutes until we have a quorum. The first item then will be the Dual Credit Advisory Council Committee report. Dr. Carr, are you here?
I'm here. Real quick, yes. Do you want me to
welcome, Dr. Carr. Would you like to start?
Sure, yeah, I'm happy to. Thank you.
I'm having trouble hearing you. We're having trouble hearing.
Yeah. Patrick, before you begin, Carly, did you have a note
I'm sorry,
to make?
Attendance. Yes, thank you. May I ask the secretary to call the roll?
Absolutely, you may. Thank you. Regent Bloom.
Present.
Regent Cummings' absence is noted. Regent James, we know will be joining at 10, hopefully. And Regent Porth?
Present.
Thank you very much. I'll declare a quorum once Regent James is present.
Thank you. Okay,
and I would also like to recognize Kalina Sasenka, our officio member.
Yes, thank you.
All right, we're all good to go.
Okay, thank you. All right, we Dual Credit Advisory Council report.
Sure, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Chair Bloom. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, just let me know, interrupt me if my sound is an issue. My name is Patrick Carr. One of my roles in the system office is supporting the CSU institution's dual and concurrent enrollment programs. And for the past 9 months, this work has had a particular focus on collaborating with Ainsley Diamond, Carly Kubasek, and others to support the establishment of the CSCU Dual Credit Advisory Council. As you may recall, in June 2025, the board adopted a dual and concurrent enrollment policy. Among the changes that policy established in order to advance dual and concurrent enrollment programs was the creation of an advisory council. That council has now been established and is actively underway. Pages 11 and 12 of your agenda packet contain the new council's first report. And I'll take just a few minutes to go over some highlights. And I want to start with the formation and membership. Of course, a critical element of the new council was identifying the people across the institutions with the appropriate expertise and experience. To find these colleagues, we invited the CSCU provosts to nominate representatives. That process resulted in a 9-member council with representation from across all of the CSU institutions as well as the system office. After an initial meeting in October where we focused on orientation and level setting, the council achieved a milestone in its December meeting when the membership of the council appointed 2 co-chairs, Chris Drury from Eastern and Kelly Falvey from Connecticut State Community College, both of whom are here today. They're now responsible for leading meetings and setting agendas and have been doing fantastic jobs since stepping into these roles. Following a poll of the council's membership, the council has identified key topics that it plans to explore, and those topics are also listed in the report in the agenda packet. As the council's work advances, I expect that it will bring more specific findings and recommendations to this committee. And I also note that one particular focus in early 2026 has been tuition and fees associated with dual and concurrent enrollment programs. To wrap up, I'll say that it's early days for the council. We've established structures, identified leaders, and started to dive into the work. And I'll add that the report in your packet primarily covers 2025 activities. The council has actually already met twice in 2026, and we have a 3rd meeting in a couple of weeks. So the work is well underway. As required by the new policy, the council will continue to submit reports each semester. So today is the first, but it will not be the last time that you hear from this council. In collaboration with Ainsley, Chris, and Kelly, I'm happy to address any questions or comments.
Thank you, Regent Porth. Questions from the Regents, Regent Porth?
Thanks, Ira. I've been looking forward to this report, and I think this is a high priority in the system. I'm encouraged by the report. It feels like we're picking up momentum. Are there other things that the board could do? I speak for myself now, but I'm interested in, and I think other members would be too, that the board could do to enable or promote more rapid expansion to the dual enrollment program.
If you want, Patrick, I can take this.
Yes, please.
Regent Porth, I think that that's a really good statement, and I'm looking forward to the committee. What I always say about this committee is the right people are on this committee. It's the people that are in the trenches doing the work with the campuses, and the provost and I talk about dual and concurrent enrollment an awful lot. And so I think that even just the suggestion, of you saying that is very helpful to the people on this call, and we will relate that back to the committee. What I'm most encouraged by with the individuals on the committee is the recommendations that will come forward. That's what their charge is to look holistically at not only their own campuses, but the system, and then come forward. So I think that's what we are going to see during this semester come out. But that's very helpful for us to hear on this meeting, that you are interested in the support of this work, and again, understand the word urgency, how to build this and move this forward. So more to come is what I would say. But thank you for that statement.
No, thank you. Ira, one more quick question.
Please.
What do we need to strengthen? What activity will allow us to increase this more rapidly? Does it have to do with work within our system, or does it have to do with the high schools, the feeder schools? And if you could expand on what specifically that might entail, I would appreciate that too.
Absolutely. I'll call in Chris and Kelly in a moment, but I want to say that to address your comment, it's a yes and. I think it's really diving deep into each campus, because as the folks that do this work understand, it's a lot of relationship development between the campus and the districts. And that's very different on every single one of our campuses. So there's different needs, different populations, different fee structures. Yeah. And so it's really the space of learning what our needs are in each area. So having people come together to talk about that, in some cases, Regent Porth, it's the same. In some cases, it's vastly different. Chris or Kelly, is there any information you want to add to that statement or the one that I made before?
Yeah, I can chime in and just say that the growth is happening really quickly. I think one critical thing to be considering is that the growth is happening with quality assurance, especially in regard to NACEP accreditation, which many of the institutions are applying for this year or next year. A key piece of being accredited and just assuring the quality is there in the high school concurrent offerings is faculty oversight of the program. So we have a lot of faculty liaisons working on the program on campus. We're starting to hit some issues with capacity, just in terms of the amount of interest in some disciplines and the available faculty to coordinate. But we're working on ways to manage that. So the growth is happening pretty organically. A lot of high schools are proactively reaching out about potential new coursework. They're working around what they may already have running with UConn or other non-CSCU institutions. So the growth is happening really quickly. Eastern has tripled this spring over last spring and doubled for the academic year for 25-26. And I think the other schools are in a similar situation, experiencing a lot of growth. And I think for us, it's also a matter of managing that growth while keeping the quality of the program high.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll just say these efforts are really important, and they address two of our biggest priorities, which is enrollment, growing enrollment, and access. And I really do believe that dual enrollment, what we're talking about now, is a crucial part of both of those. And I, for one, want to support it in whatever way I can.
Thank you, Regent Porth. I would add one thing, that as part of a bigger picture, this is part of what we've been trying to do to enable students to move more smoothly from high school to the college and then into advanced programs. So we've had a number of, for example, 4+1 programs from different campuses that compress the time toward the master's degree. So I think all of this together, I think, is part of the goal of easing and making clearer the movements, how students move through from the time they come in to the time they leave the CSCU. So I very much agree with Regent Porth that this is a very important piece of this. Any other? Well, I guess that's the two of us at the moment. So thank you very much, Dr. Carr, for this report. And we look forward to now that the committee is gearing up, we look forward to hearing how it progresses as it moves forward.
Thank you.
Thank
Agreed.
you, Dr.
Thanks.
Diamond. The next item on our revised agenda will be the next items coming from several of the campuses require a vote. So the next item will be item 7. Dr. Heineck, we're putting you on the spot first for the campus report. And there is one below threshold item on the Automotive Technology Comprehensive Repair and Service Program. So if you'd be willing to talk about those.
Sure. Do you want me to start with academic update and then go?
Yes, please.
Into that?
Please,
Is that
Dr.
okay
Heineck.
with you? Good morning, Regent Bloom and Regent Porth. At CT State, I think we're all experiencing the same thing as our university partners. We're at that midpoint in the semester. Students and faculty are hitting their groove, but you're also at the point in time in which we've had a lot of closures, and we are working on making sure that students are getting additional assignments as we are making up time. At CT State, we are beginning the work of our strategic plan, and our campuses and our strategic planning committee are well in their groove as well, with the hope of having a strategic plan ready for the board by the end of the calendar year. We're also beginning preparations for the NECHI first initial accreditation aspect, which is planned for fall of 2027. We are getting all of our standards committees together with representation from faculty and staff at every campus for every standard. In addition to that, piggybacking on the work that the dual and concurrent enrollment task force is doing. We recently just got approval for the template for the new memorandum of agreements that we will be doing with all 169 school districts now that we are CT state. So this will be a large task for us, working back with every district to update our memorandums of agreements and inventorying of all of our concurrent enrollment courses as well as our dual enrolled courses. So I also want to thank Kelly Falvey for her work and Jordan Long. They are doing a Herculean task. We are presenting at the March 10th meeting of the post-secondary work group to try to get that work in earnest up and ready. In addition to that, we will be having an Acme Advising Summit, really focused on math advising on March 13th with all of our guided pathway advisors. And that will be happening from 1 to 3, and I believe it's at the Capitol campus. On March 13th, we'll also be having an Open Education Resource Conference at CT State Naugatuck Valley. In addition to that, CT State has recently started an AI and Academics Task Force, and this is comprised of faculty and staff who are helping the college office think through the professional development needs of our faculty and staff as we enter into an entirely new world with the onset of AI. And that is my academic updates for this month.
Do you want to say a few words about the electric vehicle?
I would love to. And I'm also joined, I believe, by our academic division director who oversees our automotive program, Dan Fuller. But this is
Yes, I'm here.
this is an opportunity for CT State to expand an option out of our automotive technology comprehensive automotive repair services certificate. And this is an electric vehicle technician certificate option. It's 18 credits. It's based on the rapid growth of electric vehicles, and it's to support people to have the skill set for maintenance and repair technicians. I don't know, Dan, is there anything you would like to add to that?
Sure, very briefly, and thank you for your time. We developed the certificate to help our state meet the rapidly growing demand for technicians that have the higher level electric vehicle and high voltage skills. We're funded through a grant from the National Science Foundation, so we've been able to pull this together with very little CT state resources required. We've had significant contributions from our industry partners such as General Motors. We have two key goals for our current students. This will provide a stackable set of courses, EV-focused courses, that'll let our students graduate with an additional credential and the entry-level skills to get into EVs. And then the other focus will be working technicians, especially our alumni, our graduates from our program. This gives them a pathway to return and upgrade their skills and gain the critical expertise that they'll need to enhance their marketability and earning potential. So we're very excited to be launching this course in the fall.
Thank you, Professor Fuller. Questions from the regents about this? Comments? Regent Porth?
I do have. I think this edition for electric vehicles is terrific, and I want to say thank you because it's an effort I can see for us to stay ahead of things and stay relevant as technology changes. I have a little bit different question, and this might be for a different meeting or a different time, but I work with people who are immigrants, new people in the country, and a few of them over the last year have been they're mechanics. They're really good at working on automobiles and so forth, except they're still learning English. And when we look into it, we always get good responses from CT State people that we have talked to. But bottom line is it tends to be more expensive than a lot of folks can afford and require more time than they can afford. And I know you need to hold on to your standards and your delivery strategies and so forth, but I'd be curious to find out if there are ways that CT State that we can make it a little easier and a little quicker for people who are really good mechanics to get some sort of certificate or some sort of documentation of that, so that they could go to work sooner rather than later.
Can I take that
Principal,
first, if that's okay? And
Karen.
then Dan, you can certainly add in to this. Regent Porth, as you know, we are a relatively young college, and it's basically the coming together of 12 different formerly
Yeah.
independent colleges. So we are working on credit for prior learning. That is a new emphasis for us. As you know, we just recently redesigned our governance structure. Prior to that time period, the charge of our curriculum groups did not include the review of credit for prior learning. This spring, the new curriculum groups are charged to review the opportunities for credit for prior learning. And I think that that will really position the college in the years ahead to address the needs that you're talking about, because there are many learners that come in with industry recognized credentials or come in with
Right.
previous professional experience.
Right.
College has a lot of work to do in this particular area. And we are grateful that we have great partners like Charter Oak, who has done tremendous amounts of work in this area, but it still has to be owned by our faculty. So we are building that infrastructure as we speak. But Dan, you would have to speak specifically to what we can do in the automotive industry around that type of review.
Yeah, specifically with the English as a second language learner, especially, we do have a large number of those students. Our program's actually over 35 years old. We were born in the days of the state technical colleges, and we've continued to grow and to evolve. So we have a lot of ESL students. We have a good number current from all over the globe. The biggest issue is that our programs all require hands-on real-world experience. So the students need to be able to be hired as interns. And in the vast majority of cases, service information on these high-tech vehicles is, as you can imagine, only delivered in English. So ESL students that have gotten to enough of a point that they can read and comprehend can do very, very well. But those students that come to us that don't have the communication skills, that will be a barrier that we're going to need to find additional ways to support. But yes, exactly as the provost was saying, we're very excited to be able to offer credit for prior learning. We are an externally accredited program by ASE. I've worked with ASE for many years, and the ASE standards are something that we use to provide credit to students. So it'll be very easy to measure the students' experience and background and abilities for someone coming in. So I'm excited to be able to offer this as we move forward.
That's really encouraging. Thanks. And I believe that can be true for lots of different occupations, lots of different curricula or courses of study in our system. And I hope we could have serious discussions along these lines about some of the others as well. Thanks.
We could put this on. Yeah, we can put this on for a future meeting for Regent Porth for a conversation at the committee meeting.
I would appreciate that. I know you all know this already, but nursing, for example, we're doing a job I'm very proud of in training people for that field, for that occupation. There's a lot of people who arrive here with really good nursing backgrounds, and I wish there was a way we could help them sooner rather than later qualify to take on good jobs.
We agree with you, Regent Porth. This is definitely something that CT State believes is mission critical. As you know, we're very proud of our open access mission.
Right.
I do think that areas, including healthcare, are ripe for credit for prior learning, and we now have the structure that we can begin to make significant progress in looking at industry recognized credentials, even things including international transcripts and that type of aspect, now that we have the structure in our curriculum process. So I do hope over the course of the next year that you will see significant movement with CT State in this area and what we're able to recognize.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much,
Thank you all.
Dr. Heineck and company. We appreciate it. Next, we have item 8, Jan Can to talk about the updated FERPA policy. I understand that this is an informational item for us, not an item that requires committee approval, although it will go to the board for approval. That's correct?
I would look to Cameron Liston to confirm on that point.
Correct. Yeah, it'll go to the full board if after your review here.
But without a formal blessing from the committee, is that what I just want to be sure whether we need to have another region here for this discussion, or whether we can proceed now.
It's my understanding that this is an informational item, Regent Bloom. They're doing this presentation and then it will move forward. So quorum will not be an issue for this item.
Okay, let's go then.
Okay, terrific.
The,
Thank you. Oh. Sorry. Thank you, Commissioners Bloom and Porth. I appreciate the opportunity to be here with Dr. Diamond as well. It's been a long process coming to this point, so I really am excited to have the opportunity to talk with you today. I'm going to attempt to share my screen. I am working here today from Minneapolis, and I have not used this particular, I've not done a remote meeting from just a laptop since early pandemic days. So I'm hoping this works all right. Can you tell me if you can see my screen without
It looks great, Jan. It looks great.
Terrific. Thank you very much. All right, so I'll just dive into it. The Family and Education Rights and Privacy Act requires that institutions have a FERPA and directory information policy, and that this policy be provided to students at least annually. And our current FERPA policy was modified in June of 2021, so it was due for review. And there are certain things that I wanted to address. One was to remove some inaccuracies, to clarify concepts, to think about what we need operationally now that things have changed, I think technologically between 2021 and now, and to flesh out some details so there's more information, more context within the policy itself. So I do have just a handful of slides. They will basically go through the process for the policy development, key differences between the current and the proposed policy, and operational impact. If it's all right with you, I will go ahead and proceed with that. You can answer your questions along the way too. Okay, terrific. Let's see if I can actually progress the screen. There we go. All right. So there are 3 stages of development. The first being that I took input from the General Counsel's office, from the U.S. Department of Education's model FERPA policy, from other institutions, also from the EDUCAUSE Chief Privacy Officer's model policy, and also input of my own. As a data privacy officer for the system for the last few years, I've worked with the policy and understood some places where it really could be improved. So I took all of that information and created a new draft, which I then took to a bunch of stakeholders over the next 6 months or so. And so I talked with people from security, contracting, compliance, financial aid, registrars, student conduct, the transfer office, IR directors, chief information officers, student government associations, IRBs, and also the CSU Data Privacy Advisory Group. And I didn't talk to everybody in every group, but it was a comprehensive connection between people across the system, with the exception of the registrars. I did talk to all of the registrars. And what I did, so I took that initial draft and I went from group to group, incorporating their feedback. And at the end, I went back to the registrars to get their final feedback on the version with everybody else's input. And then once I was comfortable that I had a version that addressed all the various questions and concerns that had come up so far, then it was brought to Cameron to take to the Policy Council through its official process. And here we are today, beginning review from the board committees. That's it for the process. Does anybody have any questions about the process before I move on?
Why don't you go through and then we'll see. We'll have questions at the end.
Sure. Okay, next. Right. So key differences then are that we improved clarity and readability in a number of ways. There are some structural changes. So the current policy has like definitions embedded in the narrative. Those were brought up into the own definitions section and then hot linked, so it'd be easier to identify what concepts mean without having to read the whole policy. New terms were added, such as federal tax information, which is a new concept that's relevant. Other key terms that relate to how we are working as a system, such as what does it mean to be an eligible student? What does it mean to have an intent to enroll somewhere else? Concepts like that were clarified. There were, also an emphasis on the fact that within FERPA, institutions are to get student consent to share their data for any purpose unless there's an official exception to that consent. And one of those exceptions is the directory information exception, which we'll talk more about. But in general, we emphasize that the institutions have the discretion to utilize one of those exceptions. It's not mandatory, which is has been something that people have misunderstood in the past. Then there was some foundational information added. So policy owners are now a triumvirate of the data privacy officer, the chief compliance officer, and general counsel. We added in the institutional obligations and enforcement information. And this information is not really brand new. It's just new in terms of being incorporated into the policy. It brings into one place the things that institutions should be doing. So for example, within FERPA, students have the right to request to review their academic records and request corrections if necessary. So an institution's obligation would be to have a process to do that. So have it out there somewhere so students know who to contact, that those who are in that role of receiving the information know what to do with it. If a hearing is required, that there's a process for the hearing. So basically bringing into the policy the things that the institutions need to do to support those rights. Similarly with enforcement, not really bringing anything brand new, but putting into the policy things that should be done, linking our own electronic communications policy with the FERPA policy. So it's clear that when there is a violation, the security, who needs to be contacted to move that situation forward, that there is a requirement to report to the U.S. Department of Education, that there's a recommendation to notify students. So kind of bringing all of that into the policy itself. And also adding an element that if there is sort of reckless or intentional or repeated abuse of FERPA, that there could be some personal ramifications according to the employee handbook, kind of connecting all of those things. Another area where the policy is different is the directory information section. The current policy is tiered, so there's a different section of information that can be shared under the directory information exception based upon audience. And those were reordered because one common mistake was that people would not read to the end and they would take the first section and think that's the only one they needed to look at. And so it was a little confusing. So we reordered it. We also removed a section for school officials, which was inaccurate. We changed some things to align again with other policies, like within the section for public, there was a usage of preferred name when that should really be legal name to align with another board policy on the usage of legal name. So some modifications were made like that. We added a couple elements, class standing and institutional information that are sort of implicit in the other things that can be shared, just make it clear that those are also included. And then we added a new section to the directory information, that the elements that could be shared under that exception. And that is specifically for CSU employees to support communication about CSU students. And so this is key as we're continuing to strive to work together as a system to support our students across our borders, especially as it has to do with transfer opportunities, to have this a little small expansion in that particular area. And then the operational impact we expect to be minimal. It's again, basically adding things into the policy that institutions should be doing already. If they aren't, they'll have time to put those in place. A process for students to amend their records, like I mentioned before, a process to make sure they know who to contact if they want to opt out of their directory information being shared or opt back in, things like that. The requirement, it may be less known, but the requirement to maintain records of disclosures that the institutions know that has to be done in certain circumstances. And then the timeline, I think we have ample time. The next academic year begins with faculty year begins on August 24th. I think that would be my recommendation would be that would be a good time to have it implemented. And we have some things lined up for to support the process. So I've developed an intro to FERPA training that's ready to be rolled out. And we have the frequently asked questions document that you have a copy of. It can also be shared out to highlight what the changes are. And there are 3 one-page sort of documents that explain FERPA at a high level, one for students, one for faculty, and one for employees, that are also ready to be shared out. And that is the end of that. I'll stop sharing and I welcome whatever questions or discussion people have.
Thank you very much. That was very interesting. I unfortunately am old enough to have been around when FERPA first appeared in the 1970s and the upheaval that that created at that time. So it's very interesting to see how it took a lot of people, including many parents, rather by surprise. Um, any questions or comments from the regents about the report?
Just like Iris said, FERPA, we understand why it is, but it's always been a point, an issue that's made some people uncomfortable. And I appreciate the work being done by all of you to try to make it work as good as it can, but in a way that's also okay for the people we serve.
And I think the other important, the communication of the policy to make sure that the students are aware of the policy and the processes involved, which you've talked about. So I think that, that's a very important part of this. So thank you very much. I think this has been very, at least for us old folks, this is it's very interesting to see how this has evolving over this period of time. So thank you very much.
Welcome. Thank you for your time. Have a lovely day.
Thank you. You too. Charter Oak, Dr. Ferreira.
All right,
Have your academic update?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, Regent Bloom, Regent Porth, good to see everyone. So glad to give the brief update for Charter Oak State College. And then I know we have one item later on about the honorary degree, but a couple updates. A lot of things obviously will feature about artificial intelligence because that's a big component. And so I'll say one is actually in the regents are going to get an invite to this fairly soon because we just finalized the save the date. But we'll be doing actually a kickoff event on March 30th over at the Connecticut Science Center about our AI Academy expansion work. We were, in particular, we were able to get a grant in partnership with Axum Collaborative and the Business Higher Education Forum to help with our expansion of our AI Academy for things like business and K-12 and Teens AI Academy. And so we'll be talking about that. It'll be a great event and also really good food. So if anything, come on over for that event. And you'll learn more about the work that we're doing and really the impact it's going to have on particular our small and medium-sized businesses in the state of Connecticut that are really needing this type of training. Nearly half of our employees here in the state of Connecticut are with small and medium-sized businesses. And what we are making sure of is that our small and medium-sized businesses in Connecticut get the same level of training and information about how to transform the organization about artificial intelligence that right now the Fortune 500 companies are getting. We want to make sure our small businesses thrive. Next one is that now I can talk about it here is obviously because the board did approve the use of $2 million of strategic reserves for artificial intelligence solutions. Happy to just give you just a little bit of detail about what that really means and what's kind of the goal. And really the primary objective is to establish strategic long-term partnerships to design, implement, and scale AI solutions that enhance academic, administrative, and learner engagement functions. And it focuses on driving institutional efficiency and innovation and student success while ensuring that we have high return on investment through data-informed decision-making. So the way that it will kind of work is with our partner who was awarded the RFP, we're going to be, in essence, have our own instance of an AI pod. So all the solutions that we customize at Charter Oak will be hosted on our own secure server. And also reduces the long-term costs of subscriptions because the only thing we're really going to be paying for is really the research and development, and then really the data storage and maintenance and tokens to implement the tool, and then obviously just routine maintenance for keeping those tools up to date. So what those tools are, we are going to find out as far as how we prioritize them, because what we're going to do after we execute the contract, now that we have the ability to spend the money, we're now in contract components, because obviously this has to get signed off by the Attorney General's office. But once we do, which will probably be late spring, early summer, we're going to go through a 90-day discovery period with our AI partner, which the firm that was selected by RFP is LearningMate. And from there, we're going to identify what are the prioritized solutions that we should first start to go to. And a lot of that has to depend on things such as what is our current data infrastructure, because an AI tool is not going to work well unless your data is actually good, reliable, and clean. And then also, what's the impact as far as what are our pain points? What are our faculty and staff spending way too much time doing where they can be doing better things? What are they doing that's transactional versus what are they doing that's transformational? The AI will be doing the transactional material. Our humans are who let's do our transformational work. Because what we intend to do, and this is really our commitment, because we are a growing organization, AI is not intended to take jobs over at Charter Oak State College. The intention is that as we grow, our humans are able to do the higher level work, and the routine mundane tasks are going to be actually transactional with still a human in the loop, either from a quality assurance standpoint or through final sign off by the human. And that's really the approach that we're going to go ahead and take. So once we do have that discovery period, we're going to do about 2 to 3 artificial intelligence solutions each year for at least the next 2 to 3 years, or the amount of time it takes to spend that upwards of the $2 million investment. And then just to let you know, I'm happy to talk a little bit more, but any type of real minute details about anything that may be proprietary or trade secrets, probably won't be able to get to it into a public meeting. That that's probably more on executive, or that's more on non-disclosure type of components. But I want to at least give a high level information about what is our approach to artificial intelligence and our solutions now that we have the ability to move forward. And then lastly, the last update I'll have for this committee is we are also very happy to report, if you haven't seen, Georgetown University does a return on investment study about higher education. And actually it was in the CT Mirror about, actually the CT Mirror article was actually, the headline was not the best. Some CT colleges show downward trends in return on investment. But what I'm happy to report, when you look at the data and you look at where the predominant degree is the baccalaureate degree, within CSCU, Charter Oak State College produces the highest return on investment for baccalaureate degrees. 10 years out, 15 years out, 20 years out, 30 years out, and 40 years out. So the data is fairly clear from the Georgetown study that, again, our mission is to have industry relevant, and we serve the working professional population, and having stable and career sustaining incomes are part of our mission. And so we're happy to report, and tied to that mission, that within CSCU, we perform the best at every single measure, 10, 15, 20, 30, and 40 years out, which I think speaks to the quality of the work that I think our teams do over here at Charter Oak. So we're very proud of that.
Thank you, Provost Farrar. Questions, comments from the regents?
I just have I think it's more of a comment. First of all, I appreciate the report. And as we've said in earlier meetings, the development of AI is inevitable. And it's good that we have people in our system that are trying to prepare our students for this. And Dave, you said something that I think is a topic that'll come up a lot over the next few years, which is how can we intentionally prepare our students to lead this change and not to be displaced by it. I think we should be that direct about how we frame this issue.
Yeah, Regent Port, that is an excellent point. And actually, this was something I was going to mention when we talk about our honorary degree nominee for this year, because and I'll talk more about it when it comes time for that one, because that's the action item. But we are undertaking we are currently being considered for a grant through the Davis Educational Foundation, and we actually have a follow-up meeting with them later on this month. And fingers crossed we get those dollars. But but what that point of that grant is going to be is Business Higher Education Forum actually has an AI professional framework. These are 7 competencies. And these are the AI competencies with the human durable skills. It's about AI with problem solving, AI with communication, AI with critical thinking, AI and ethics. And so they already have a framework that's been vetted by over 100 businesses. So it's a nationally normed, industry vetted thing. So why reinvent the wheel? So what we're going to be doing with that initiative over a 3-year period is to embed those 7 AI competencies. We're going to call them AIEs into every single baccalaureate program at the college to start. Obviously, there's masters and things like that, but so what we're thinking about and put it into our academic terms, these are 7 AIEs. We're going to treat it kind of like what we do with our PLOs or program learning outcomes. We're going to map it into each of our baccalaureate programs. And so we can guarantee that by the time you graduate from Charter Oak State College with a bachelor's degree, you have actually acquired all those AI-enabled professional framework competencies. And we will be, again, I don't want to speak out of turn, but once we do that, we would actually be the first college in the country that has actually done this work with a nationally normed framework. And that is going to be our unique selling proposition here in the state of Connecticut and beyond, is that we are the only college in public online college and online college that says we have mapped your AI skills that you need for the 21st century into every single degree program. And that's going to be obviously working with the crux of that grant work is going to be heavily focused on our faculty. It's faculty development, faculty stipends to do that work and embed it into our template courses. Because also at the same time, if you're a software development faculty member, you may not know effectively AI and communication. Well, we're going to train on how can a software development faculty member do AI and communication in your baccalaureate program. So we're really excited about that work. I haven't announced it too much yet because we want to wait a little bit for see if we get the grant. But we have, I think, a really good proposal, and they're asking us to move to the next step in that process later on this month. So we're very confident in that. But we are excited to get this work started because you're correct that every single graduate's going to need this work. Yeah. I wish we could do it faster, but obviously I want to make sure we follow a good process of mapping it, developing the rubrics, mapping into our programs, do the actual updates to our curriculum, and then assess and iterate. And that's why it's talking about a 3-year process.
Thank you. I think this has been, I'm sorry, Regent Porth, did you have?
No, I appreciate that.
I think that's been very, very helpful, Provost Rohr. So thank you. Regent James has joined us.
Yes, thank you so much. We're happy to see you, Regent James. And I want to note that now that Regent James is here, we do have a quorum.
So we now have a quorum for a short period of time. So based on the discretion that was granted me at the beginning of the meeting, I want to move to first of all, item 2 on the agenda, which is approval of the minutes of the last meeting of February 6th. May I have a motion from one of the regents to approve the minutes?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Any comments on the minutes? All in favor of approval of the minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Minutes are approved. The next item 4, the honorary degrees. We are going to do the honorary degree. We're going to vote on them as a group, unless there is a request from one of the regents to separate a particular honorary degree from the group. But we're going to ask each of the provosts now to present or describe the candidates they have put forward. So this is item 4. We have Charter Oak. Dave, you've just left, but you're right back. Do you want to talk about the candidate Kristen Fox?
Yes, I'm glad to, and I can literally go on all day, but I'll keep it brief. But we are very honored to nominate Kristen Fox for our honorary degree. A couple of things. She's the CEO of the Business Higher Education Forum. I think a lot of folks within CSU are familiar with BHEF. And so she's absolutely phenomenal, but a couple areas in particular with the partnership with Charter Oak State College, and that's the reason for this, is under Ms. Fox's leadership, the collaboration between business BHEF and Charter Oak has actually gone to new heights. I mentioned the component about our kickoff on March 30th. I hope obviously the regions can be there on the 30th for our kickoff, our expansion. They actually are the grantee award, and we're the sub-grantee for that agreement with Axum Collaborative, really for the expansion of our AI Academy components with the small, medium-sized businesses in K through 12 in particular. So that work has been a great collaboration. BHEF is going to be doing the industry validation of the curriculum that we do produce in those areas, and it wouldn't have been without Ms. Fox's leadership that's not there. The other component, obviously with that is I mentioned the alignment with the BHEF AI enabled framework. Their contribution about that work is really changing for Charter Oak State College. And then obviously the work that BHEF has done over for the Connecticut economy overall with the Tech Talent Accelerator grants really being coordinated through BHEF and obviously Future Ready States and those initiatives. So, she has expanded the network of business higher ed forum across the country, consulted for a countless number of higher education institutions. So we couldn't think of a better person to nominate for the honorary doctorate than Ms. Fox.
Thank you again, Provost Farrar. Provost Heineck, do you want to introduce your next one? Is coming from Middlesex, but it's in your domain.
Sure, and I'm also joined by our Director of New Media Services, Phil Fox, who was the nominator. So if it's okay with you, I would like him to speak to this.
Fine.
Phil, would you like to do that?
Yes, thank you.
Sure, happy to. Thanks, Provost Heineck. Good morning. My name is Phil Fox. I'm a Service Director of the Center for New Media at CT State Middlesex. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I nominated Sarah Gadsby for the honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters. This nomination appears on your agenda on page 26. Her work directly reflects the mission of Connecticut State Community College in serving communities, expanding access, and improving lives through education and partnership. Who Sarah is, she's the CEO of River Valley Services, the lead mental health authority for Region 2. They oversee outpatient care, 24/7 mobile crisis, serve about 1,300 clients annually in the Middlesex County. She's a licensed clinical social worker with 25 years of experience in mental health leadership. And I think her community impact is tremendous. She's a regional leader in mental health. And in terms of working with CT State, she's partnered with us here at the Center for New Media and CT State Middlesex on the Take a Moment campaign and mental health awareness. We've created over 40 media for this campaign. Culminates in an annual event at Harbor Park in Middletown for mental health awareness. Our students produce public service videos and podcasts with Sarah. And it's really an opportunity and experiential learning connected to public service. And I think Sarah is really a person who is deserving of the degree, has a long-term leadership in behavioral health systems and a long-term partnership with CT State. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fox and Dr. Heineck. Western's candidate, Provost Hagedus, you're here? Yes, you are.
I am here, Regent Bloom. Thank you. And thanks for this opportunity. It's a great privilege to recommend Mr. Bob Yamin. I would just like to note that in the agenda, his last name is misspelt. It's it's not Yasmin, it's Yamin. But with that said, Mr. Yamin has been a proud alumnus of Western. In the late 70s, he got 2 degrees in political science and history, and then he went on to get his Juris Doctor from Harvard Law School. And he also served there as the senior executive editor of the Harvard Journal of Law and Public Policy, as well as being president of the Student Bar Association. Then returning back and has been in the greater Danbury community and in the region for many, many years. It is really a life story of real dedication, of being able to go from WestCon to Harvard and then back to serve is wonderful to note here. He has been actively engaged in the community. His civic engagement is listed in the letter of recommendation from President Bernal. He has been an active member of both our foundation board as well as our alumni association board, and has continually given back in both his time, talent, and experience to WestConn for many decades. So it's a great honor to recommend Mr. Bob Yamin today. This recommendation was presented to President Bernal via a committee that I co-chaired. And I would also like to note that it has been some years since WestConn has presented a candidate for the honorary doctorate. In fact, the last one I believe was 2018. So it's especially a pride point for myself to present this today for your review and approval. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Haggerdos. Very appreciative. Southern, Dr. Irwin, you have 2 candidates.
I do. Good morning, regents and colleagues. The first candidate is Christopher O'Connor, who's the CEO of Yale New Haven Health. He has been a significant partner to Southern, working in collaboration with our College of Health and Human Services to support our nursing students through large grants that enable us to double our nursing enrollment, expand pathways into the profession, and diversify and strengthen the workforce pipeline. So this collaboration with Christopher and with Yale New Haven Health has actually created a significantly enriched, diverse workforce that we would not have had otherwise. It's an opportunity for students that would not have had access to this to be able to work. And just last year, we placed 90 nurses at Yale New Haven Hospital. As Chief Operating Officer, O'Connor led a number of critical initiatives involving the health system growth, including the affiliation with Lawrence Memorial Hospital and the acquisition of Milford Hospital. He also serves on the boards of Greenwich Hospital and Northeast Medical Group, and previously served on the Lawrence and Memorial Health Board. So as Yale extends out and actually is taking over multiple hospitals, that allows even more opportunity for our students to get on the ground training. And he's just been a real booster for us in our programming, and I think it's a big part of the nursing success. I want to move on now to Mayor Justin Elicker. We're also nominating him, and this recognition is for his exemplary record of public service, community leadership, scholarly engagement, and civic impact. Again, Mayor Elicker is a good friend to Southern. He's helping us integrate Southern and New Haven in a significant way and continues to do so. He shows up to our events. He's a great listener. He kind of really is embodying our social justice mission. He's got a dedication to education that's reflected in his work teaching elementary and high school students who are considered at-risk youth, as well as 3 years as an adjunct professor at our university. He further contributed to higher education through his work with Yale University's Office of Sustainability. He's consistently demonstrated leadership rooted in equity, service, and community empowerment. We think this makes him an outstanding candidate for the honorary degree.
Thank you, Dr. Irwin. I wish Mr. O'Connor well. He's undertaking the additional hospital. This is going to be a challenge. Some of those hospitals have had significant difficulties or challenges. Let's put it that way. Let's hope we feel the same way about him in a few years. We are traveling across the state to Eastern. Dr. Wilson, welcome.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So we also have 3 nominees, 2 of whom we're nominating together for our graduate commencement ceremony. Very excited to be nominating David and Marilyn Foster, who many of you know, based on their commitment to public service and philanthropy. They are locally focused here in Eastern Connecticut and have done a lot of work for Wyndham and Willimantic. They have provided substantial scholarship support to Eastern through their foundation. And in David's own words, which are quoted in President Ismaili's letter, support philanthropy through music, and using their connections through the past 40 years in the music and entertainment industry as a source for their philanthropy, including most recently here at Eastern in January 2026 when they held a concert, the Take Me to the Rivers All Stars, that raised funds for our campus food pantry. So we're really excited to have the opportunity to recognize David and Marilyn Foster. And then for our undergraduate ceremony, we would like to recognize Beth Regan. Beth is an Eastern alum, as well as chairwoman and justice of the Mohegan Tribe Council of Elders. She has been throughout her career active in statewide efforts to develop and deliver curriculum in Native American studies education for public schools, particularly K through 12. She's also a leader in women's athletics. She was a student athlete here at Eastern and then served as the first head coach for women's soccer and has been recognized by the Athletics Hall of Fame here at Eastern, as well as the Connecticut Soccer Hall of Fame. And most recently, I had the opportunity to meet Beth last fall when she delivered the keynote address at our fall 2025 land acknowledgement ceremony, which marked the adoption of the campus's first land acknowledgement, and she's absolutely an electric speaker. So we're really looking forward to having her back speaking with our students in spring.
Thank you, Provost Wilson. First, I want to have an overall motion to move these honorary degrees.
I'll move that. I'll second.
Second. Is there any motion to separate any of the candidates from the group? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor of the recommendation to the board, to full board, to award the honorary degrees listed in section item 4 of the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Item is moved. Congratulations to the recipients. They're made one step closer to the honor, getting one step closer to the honorary degrees.
And I just want to comment on what an impressive group of honorary degree recipients we have across our institutions. So it's very exciting to see not only the work they're doing, but their affiliations with us and our recognition of them. So thank you.
Yeah, I think this is great. This is Dr. Costello, Central.
Good morning. I'm obviously not Dr. Costello. I'm Jim.
I know that. I can tell.
Unfortunately,
so Dr. Costello, I gather, is not going to be here then.
No, we had to shuffle some deck chairs this morning, so I am here in place of Dr. Costello, as she had to be someplace else for Dr. Toro, because Dr. Toro had to be someplace else. Lots of shuffling.
I hope the ship is still steady after the shuffling of the deck.
The deck chairs are moved. Other than that, we're good. In the interest of time,
Dr. Maloney, well, welcome back. You've been here before.
I have. Thank you. It's
so
nice
the first item is the academic update, and then you have several action items.
Yep.
Here.
And I will keep the updates relatively short, as I see we're on a very tight time frame here this morning. So for our updates, I believe the last time I was here, I had shared that Central was accepted into the American Association of State Colleges and Universities course scheduler grant program. It was a select group of universities that were accepted. That is going really well at this point. Myself, the provost, and the registrar were in DC the end of January, where we went through sort of a battery of tools and tests that allowed us to bring that back to our own institution and hold some workshops with our assistant associate deans who do a lot of this course scheduling in our university. The real focus is to make transparent schedules that really allow students the flexibility they need to complete their courses. So this first step really was pointing out some of our practices that are not always the best in terms of we're offering all the classes, but they're not offered necessarily in the best way for our students. So it was a little enlightening to realize, oh, that makes it hard for a student to get that course in this course. So we're making progress, but really with student success. We're also eagerly working on our website to meet the ADA compliance in the end of April. And we're taking advantage of that as an opportunity to really review our website and what we tell our students. This is where most students find their information, whether they're a prospective student or a current student. So we're doing a lot of web cleanup in terms of language, degree requirements, consistency and use of language, in hopes that this minimizes confusion for our students. Finally, we are really busy working on a new initiative that is coming from Dr. Toro. And my understanding is she will be sharing that initiative with all of you. Is it later this month? And that was as much as I was allowed to say about that one. Those are my updates.
Yes. Okay, thank you. The next piece is your endowed chair appointment recommendation.
Yes, so this is the a motion, I guess, or we would like to appoint Michael Nicastro as the endowed chair. Mr. Nicastro has been with Central actually for several years. He's one of our adjuncts, very popular with our students, well known in the business community. So having him already on our campus, there'll be very little, if any, sort of startup time for him. He's ready to go. You all might remember, I think it was just late last year, we also put through a banking certificate and a finance tech type certificate program. He has already been very active in getting students into those certificate programs and recruiting the banking industry. So he's a great selection, I think, for this position. It is funded, of course, by an endowment account that is in our foundation. So there's actual no cost to the university in terms of our budget. And I'll stop there and answer any questions if people have any. I know a lot of the details were in the packet.
I take it this is a 3-year appointment to this endowed chair?
It is a 3-year appointment. That is correct.
And he's his underlying appointment is as a part-time associate professor?
He'll be a part-time associate professor, and he teaches 3 credits each a year or a semester. Yeah.
And this is renewable after the 3 years annually at the discretion of Central, right?
Correct. And that's done in conjunction with the School of Business for that. So,
questions from the regents about this item? Seeing none, all those in favor of the recommendation to appoint Michael Nicastro to the American Savings Foundation endowed chair in banking and finance?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion is passed. It's being recommended to the full board for.
Thank you.
Now we have 2 modifications that you're coming in with. The first is to the Electrical Engineering Bachelor of Science program.
Correct. And so
these are action items, so that they have to be voted on separately.
Okay, so for the bachelor's in electrical engineering, as you're probably most likely aware, Central offers engineering programs. These are ABET accredited. The electrical engineering is our newest, if you will, engineering program that we started several years ago. We have now reached an enrollment in those programs where we can adjust the program so that it aligns more closely with our other engineering programs. It's also now on the review cycle to have ABET accreditation as well. So that was the motivation behind some of these changes. In a nutshell, what we're really doing is collapsing some of the coursework and curriculum to make a core, and then freeing up some credits so that we can actually create concentrations within the program. It's still a single degree, but students, just like in our mechanical engineering, where they can focus on aerospace or manufacturing, same thing here. They can focus on power systems. So it's using those directed electives creatively so students can sort of focus on a primary area in addition to all the core courses they take in electrical engineering. And that will align it with most electrical engineering programs that are out there that are ABET accredited, as well as aligning it with our other engineering programs here at Central. So it looks a lot messier on paper, but that's basically all we did.
Okay. Questions or comments to Dr. Maroney? Okay. All those, I'm sorry, Regent Porth?
It sounds good. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. All those in favor of approving the recommendation on the BS in electrical engineering?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Modification is approved to be recommended to the board, full board. The next item is a somewhat different
Regent Bloom, could you just
program.
grab a first and a second? Just the order for that.
I'm sorry?
Just real quick, could we grab a first and a second, the order for it?
The first and second, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the first and second, the
Yeah,
motion.
okay, I'm sorry,
I'll
yes.
move it. I'll move
Okay.
it.
Thanks so much.
Second. Thank you. Thank you, Corey. Okay. Public relations certificate program name change is on the floor.
Okay, and this one is just a name change. It used to be called Public Relations and Promotions. It's an official certificate program. The proposal is to change it to a name that's more consistent with today's environment and needs. So they're changing it to Public Relations and Social Media Strategy. That is the only change, and it's hopeful that that name, which resonates more with students, will get more students to look at it and enroll in that certificate.
I don't know how social media can't resonate with students. They're all on it all the time.
Exactly. That's why I'm surprised they haven't done it sooner.
Comments about this name change from the regents? Okay. All those in favor of the name change?
Aye.
Aye.
And
Opposed?
I'll move that too if that's necessary.
No, I think we've done that. I think
Okay.
I think we did that. Yep. Thanks to Carly. Okay. In favor again?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion is passed. Maroney, you're off the hook. Thank you for
very
your
much.
thank you for your contributions to the meeting, and I hope
Thank
the
you.
ship is steady with.
I felt a little seasick there, but we're okay.
Okay. We're now going south to Southern. Dr. Irwin, you have a report, and then there are some modifications here.
Okay, so would you like me to do the academic updates first?
Please, yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so I want to report out about Donovan Doviak, who is a fifth grade teacher at ASA's Wintergreen Interdistrict Magnet School. He was recently named an Amazon Future Engineer Teacher Ambassador, a recognition awarded to just 100 educators across the country. Donovan's a double L, which means he got his undergraduate degree in 24 and is now in the final year of his master's in special education program. He's going to graduate this summer. Our Community Alliance for Research Engagement, or CARE program, it's co-housed at Southern and Yale School of Public Health in partnership with the New Haven community, has been selected as one of 5 recipients of Campus Compact's 2026 Excellent in Community Engaged Partnerships Awards. Dr. Mike Rogers, a professor of anthropology at Southern, is part of an international research team that has virtually reconstructed the most complete early Pleistocene hominin cranium ever recovered from the Horn of Africa. This fossil is known as DAN5, and I'm really excited as an academic to report that the findings were published in Nature Communications on December 16th. Dr. Rogers and his colleagues in anthropology regularly include students in their research, so this is exciting for that team. And finally, Dr. Carrie Sassu, who's a psychologist and director of our Southern Center for Excellence on Autism, is working directly with drivers and law enforcement through educational sessions and practice traffic stops designed to reduce misunderstandings and improve safety outcomes. So this is called the Blue Envelope program, which is that if a driver is on the spectrum and gets pulled over, they can hand a blue envelope to the police officer that helps explain kind of what their sensitivities might be to avoid any kind of difficulty or, unfortunately, violence. Okay, I'm going to move on.
It's an important program because there is
It
a
is.
history of difficulties in those situations. So
It is misunderstandings. Sometimes if there's anxiety, an individual won't respond to commands immediately, or may not make eye contact, and it's perceived as aggression when in fact that's not the intention. This is gaining some steam nationally. I know Ohio is doing this work, but Dr. Sassu is not only the director of our program, she's a stakeholder, she's a parent of an individual with autism. So we're really proud of this program.
great. Okay, first of the modifications, your clinical nurse leader masters.
Right. So I know it's a long list, but I promise you it's not as difficult as it looks. So
I'm going to
the
group a few
first
of them. I'm
one,
going to group a few of them together as we go.
yes, absolutely. So the clinical nurse leader is simply modified from being called clinical nurse leader to a master's, an MS in nursing in leadership and administration. So updated language.
Okay. And I gather this is to separate the advanced clinical degree from the leadership. I gather it didn't work when they were both combined in one
Yeah,
package.
yes, exactly. Thank you. You've been doing careful reading.
It's an interesting area that I was once responsible for in my former life, one of my former lives. So, um, any questions or comments about this item? Can I have a
No.
motion to approve the modification?
So moved.
Is there a
I'll
second?
second. I'll
Okay.
second.
All those in favor of approving the modification?
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
abstentions, modification is approved. The next item, B2, is communication disorders, name change, etc. That really ties in with the one below threshold item, C3, the healthcare studies speech language assistant program. So would you care to discuss these? Or would you please discuss these?
I think we actually lost her for a moment.
Uh-oh.
Just let's all just pause for a second and
We've lost Dr.
we
Irwin.
we have. I just saw her screen disappear. So let's just give it a second.
Yes. This has been known to happen, so.
There we go.
When I
There,
originally,
welcome back.
welcome
I
back.
am
Okay.
so sorry. It just dropped me off. I very apologetic. Timing terrible on that.
So,
Um,
okay, we're on, we're on your second item.
yes,
Yes,
communication disorders. Yes. And so this
which,
is very simply the zip code changes because it's just an updated version of the zip codes that was recommended by my AVP, Trudy Milburn. So that's the difference there.
okay, and this is tied into the third below threshold item as part of the program.
Yes, in fact, it is. Yep.
Do you want to say a
So,
word or two about how these fit together?
sure. So there's been some changes associated with, so we have a healthcare studies program that is not the same as the communication disorders program. And there's a concentration here in speech language pathology assistant. So this is not a speech language pathologist proper, but this is an assistant that prepares for direct entry into the workforce. It aligns with our goal of preparing students to enter the Connecticut workforce. So the healthcare studies is a kind of a concatenation of different programs that are maybe like not nursing proper, but nursing adjacent, and the same thing with speech pathology. Um, so part, I'm not sure if you want me to talk about the change in the speech pathology assistant or just with
I think
reference
it's a
to.
package, so you might, I think, was it,
Okay, absolutely. Thank you. So beginning 2026, and I just want to mention that our Department of Communication Disorders, we believe we are putting this forward, will now be named Speech, Language, and Hearing Sciences, is creating a new course called Speech, Language, Hearing Sciences 421, Speech and Language Disorders, Birth through School Age, and they have recommended that it become a requirement for students. So that's the below threshold change for the healthcare studies concentration in speech language pathology assistant.
Okay. Got it.
okay. Motion to move the communication disorders Bachelor of Science
So moved.
change. Second.
So moved.
And I'll second.
Any comments about that item? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? approved. Okay. Now we get to the nice collection of below threshold items.
Wait,
I'm sorry.
I just
Some
wanted
of
to
them are,
mention,
yeah,
I just
go
wanted to
ahead.
mention that I didn't say before, the reason for the name change from communication disorders to speech language hearing sciences is to move away from the language of disorder. I apologize, I didn't say that previously.
Yeah, that was in the material. We don't want to characterize any of this in a negative way, I assume.
That's right, Regent Bloom.
Yeah, okay. You want to say, but the biology item was pretty straightforward. Do you want to say anything about the data science, the second item in the below threshold?
Sure. So just to give you a tiny bit of background on this one, it's the BS in data science is an interdisciplinary effort between the math department and the the computer science department. What happened here is alumni were indicating that there was a high demand when they were getting out into the field for database skills. So as a result of that, coverage of database systems in the core was expanded by one course. There was also increased demand for deep learning and generative AI skills in the industry. So the program revision includes adding a course on deep learning to the core in the addition of 3 AI-related courses to the elective pool. So the revision, there's also a revision in the introductory math course sequence, resulting in a net savings of 2 credits. So essentially, this is updating this concentration to kind of meet the current needs associated with both the American Statistical Association and ABET accredited committee to keep it up to date.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments on this? Okay. One of the next intriguing one, I think, was the minor in selling, professional selling.
So this one is quite general in the sense that anybody from any major could kind of engage in this and get information, get skilled up. So the minor in professional selling provides a foundation in consultative data-informed selling for students from any major. So those are kind of selling curious. Enterprise sales, business development, customer success, or launching your own venture. This minor complements a major with career-ready sales and negotiation capabilities that employers consistently demand. So I would point out that our business school has actually done quite a bit of service for the institution in terms of providing skills outside of their own school. For example, they have relationships with, again, healthcare studies. If you become a clinician and you need to stand up your own practice, there are programs that cross both.
Okay. Okay. Social work, you're making a change there.
Yes. So the BSW program is adding Social Work 332, which is entitled Introduction to Diversity, Oppression, and Social Justice to the curriculum. That's 3 credits. This course was described as preparing students for entering generalist social work practice. Social workers are really needed right now, and this will increase the major requirements to 48 credits and reduce free elective credits by 3.
I gather this course is designed to broaden the background of the students going into.
Yeah. Yes.
Anything on energy and utility leadership?
So the good news is the whole next set has the same
Yes.
rationale.
Yeah.
So
So it's
if
all
you,
the business. So we're dealing with 7 through the end of the batch, right?
yes.
Yeah.
And we actually had a professor of math come last meeting to describe this, but I have done some additional work to give it a little bit more of kind of regular flavor, right? So I just want to explain this because you may actually even see it again. So initially, when the math program makes a change, because it's a prereq for so many programs, including this huge set of business programs, there's a follow-on effect, right? So everybody who has math in their kind of early programming it affects. So originally math had Math 111 and 112, which were unique courses to Southern. And the idea was that it was an extension of algebra to kind of prepare students who maybe had not had a lot of experience with algebra, but it was unique. It did not meet our quantitative reasoning requirements for our general education, and therefore was not eligible for financial aid. So that was understandably changed to Math 118 and 119, which is now college algebra, more standard across other institutions. Now can count as a cognate, now can count as quantitative reasoning, and it no longer, so 111 and 112 are no longer hidden prerequisites. Those were kind of prepped for what we have now, so that was taken out. And they're eligible for financial aid. So for that reason, all the business courses, you'll now see that they have added in 118 or maybe 120. And the good news is it's also gaining them 3 free elective credits. So this was an important change.
What level of algebra are we talking about here in this in the traditional, in ancient times? What level of algebra would we call this?
I'm going to give you my best description of this, not being a mathematician. So we have something called Math 100P, which is the very introductory algebra that many students will take. And because math skills are kind of increasingly challenging to our newer students, there was the Math 100P, which is very basic, and then 111 and 112 were kind of the extension, as it were, and that caused our curricular problems. So I apologize that I can't tell you the details of what it covers, but I do know that 118 and 119 are what we would call traditional college algebra. So Math 100P is like a pre-algebra, and then the other two are more college algebra. The other reasoning behind this is not everybody will go on to calculus, right? So we're starting to do pathways where perhaps after 118 or 19, you go on to statistics, or you go on to calculus if, let's say, you're in STEM. So it was reducing the amount of algebra, I think, overall, because there was ending up being so many in a row, and then putting in pathways depending on your major.
Thank you very much. Any questions of Dr. Irwin before we release her? Regent Porth, any?
No.
Regent James?
I actually only have one comment, which is and I was trying to hold it because I recognize we are really very limited for time. But I was really pleased to see the work that's being done in terms of speech and language for birth through. My son, who was born significantly prematurely, we started him with speech and language therapy literally at 3 months. And at that time, that was not perceived as something that was particularly widely recognized as necessary. So all of the work that we're doing is, I feel, across all of our institutions, so connected with the changes that research and medical science have happened over the last 30 years. And it's nice to see how current and not only current, but the advanced thinking that's going on across our system. So that was my only comment.
Thank you, Regent James. You know, early intervention is so important, and it's the one thing across different developmental issues we know makes a difference.
Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you. I just want to say before we get to the Vice Chancellor Diamond, I think it's been very instructive to hear some wonderful things are going on the campuses in various fields. So very appreciative of it's really good to hear this and to be able to talk about it at the meetings. And I think it's a great reflection of what is happening on our campuses that doesn't get enough public attention.
Yeah.
Agreed.
These are very important. Some of these are very important programs, very important steps. And, but this is not what gets people's attention. in the need to have more journalism courses that broaden what journalists are supposed to be doing, but that's entirely different question.
Yeah.
But I want to thank all the provosts for their contribution here.
Yeah.
And last but certainly not least, Dr. Diamond.
Actually, before me, we have two other campuses that need to do their academic update.
Oh, did I leave somebody out?
Yep, we have
That's okay.
Eastern first. Yeah,
I'm
go
sorry?
ahead, Carly.
No, you're all good. Sorry. Yeah, we jumped a little bit over. We ended with Charter Oak for the academic update, so we still have Eastern and Western.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. We did. Okay.
It's a complicated day today.
We had Eastern and Western, right?
Correct.
Right.
Yes, we
What
do.
what are we missing?
Eastern should go next. Item 10 on the agenda.
Yes, Eastern. Yes, Dr. Wilson.
Thank you. Just a few
I'm sorry,
academic.
Dr. Wilson. I apologize.
That's okay. Just a few.
This is no reflection on.
I am not at all worried about that. Thank you. So we are in the midst of faculty hiring, P&T, and reappointment season. And for me, as a new provost at Eastern, it's been really a wonderful opportunity to dig into the work that my faculty are doing. And we are working really hard since I've been here to continue to amplify that work. So I'm hoping to have some additional fun updates about faculty scholarship for you in the coming meetings. Last month, we had our initial accreditation visit from CCNE, which is the nursing accreditor. It was an excellent visit. They particularly praised the integration of liberal arts into Eastern's nursing program, and we expect an accreditation action in October. So you all will get some updates on that. And then yesterday we had the governor and chancellor here on campus. They met with a class, they met with a group of students, and I understand had some really wonderful conversations, and it was great that our career fair was also happening yesterday. The governor and chancellor didn't go. I understand it made parking a little bit of a challenge, but it was really had 43 Connecticut-based employers on campus and over 400 students there. So in other exciting news out of Eastern, we learned this week that we are one of a handful of COPLAC institutions that was selected to participate in the Gates Foundation funded program with the Gardner Institute, Advancing Student Success Strategic Prioritization for Student Success. And this will provide us with the opportunity to participate in some intensive data-driven assessment and action planning work. And the timing aligns really well with the launch of our strategic compass, strategic plan, which will be happening later this spring, all driving towards supporting the facilitation and execution of our student success priorities. I think it was Provost Heineck mentioned OER activities happening on their campus. We've also been celebrating OER Resources Week and had on Wednesday a visit and presentation from Kevin Corcoran, who I understand used to work with CSCU. So he was here, he met with me, he met with, gave a presentation to some students and faculty about some of his work in AI, OER, and digital accessibility. And finally, I'll just add by noting that on the 20th of February, we hosted our Equity and Social Justice Awards, which is a program out of our Student Affairs Division, where student leaders are recognized for their work, particularly in leadership roles in promoting equity and social justice on campus. So that was a really wonderful event. We had musical performance, we had a couple of student speakers, and it was just a great opportunity to continue learning about what our students are up to.
Thank you. Comments, questions?
Quick question. Any concern in terms of pressure for the Equity Council in a given today's political environment and how much pressure academia is getting on these subjects? So
we are not leaning into the anticipatory compliance. One of the things that Karim is really reminding us of is using full language of diversity, equity, and inclusion rather than DEI, which has become this oddly weaponized phrase. So the more we're able to talk in detailed, specific terms, the more we were able to really amplify the work that we're doing. But here at Eastern, we're not feeling any pressure to change anything that we're doing in those spaces.
Thank you. I'm very happy to see that we are continuing to commit to that work. It's very important. So,
and just hearing about these students and what they've been doing within their communities here at Eastern, but also more broadly, it's really exciting.
good. Thank you.
Thank you. Very interesting. Thank you. Traveling back to the western side of the state, Provost Hagedus, my apologies before for no, as I said, no intention to leave the eastern or western poles off.
No problem. Thank you, Regent Bloom. Thank you, Regents. Just a few brief updates. First, thank you all and full board for their approval last week related to the renaming of our Centre for Excellence in Learning and Teaching after Dr. Hawkes, and approval of the use of those funds, which since then we're actively trying to build the next steps and the procedures to be able to help support pretty much starting this fall, supporting our students and faculty developing pathways into applied and experiential learning as one of the key key points of how we wish to invest those dollars. So again, it's an exciting time, but now we've got to get to work and make sure all the pieces fit together. So appreciate all of your support again. We've received a grant to support one of our deans in a team be able to attend the Values Enacted Leadership Institute offered by Humetrics HSS, which will help them develop interdisciplinary curricular pathways, particularly the strengths of the liberal arts programs, in particular humanities. So that's, again, very mission aligned, and that work will be going on in the summer. And lastly, I'd like to share that, I don't know if you're familiar with the Center for School Safety and Crisis Preparation, which is housed in our School of Professional Studies at WestCon. Recently, the governor signed into law with SB 298 that the Center for School Safety and Crisis Preparation will move from an advisory role to operationally the authoritative it basically become a statewide center, and really puts WestCon, the university, directly in the center of school safety and crisis preparation as well. So this is a pretty big step, and the work of the center has had a great impact in the past, and now in shifting its role from advisory to statewide authority is going to have a even bigger impact. So I wanted to share that with you. That's just been recently signed in, and I think that's it for me this time. So if there are any questions, happy to answer them. Thank you.
Questions of Provost Hagedus? Thank you very much. I guess I'll repeat the statement I've made before. I think there are some really wonderful things going on the campuses, including our eastern and western poles. So thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Diamond?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. I am going to cover both the academic affairs and the student affairs updates. As you heard earlier from Patrick Carr, he's doing great work helping the Dual Credit Advisory Committee come together, and we're looking forward to hearing their recommendations later in this spring. And in his other role, his dominant role at the system office is his work as the director of libraries. And I wanted to mention that the CT OER Summit is happening next Friday. It's Friday the 13th. And I'm putting a link in the chat right now for those of you who are interested. And this should not be confused with the CSCU OER work that we do. This is the Connecticut OER group, which is fantastic. And they hold a summit every single year, and it's very well attended. And this year it's going to be held at CT State Naugatuck Valley. The keynote is David Wiley, and I looked through the breakout sessions. I'm going to be there in the morning, and it looks like it's going to be really interesting. They always have lovely student panels that talk very bluntly about textbook affordability. So this has gained steam over the years. The council does a lot of great work, but this event in particular is really important. So I just wanted to throw that in the chat. If anyone is interested in attending, the registration does close today because the event is next Friday. The other thing that I just wanted to touch on very, very quickly is that at the last board meeting, the healthcare task force phase 2 was mentioned, established, voted upon. I'm not exactly sure what the action was, but it was talked about. This is a report that was done last year, and President Dr. Balmer, interim president, is leading that work. So we're kind of gearing up at the system office to support that work in any way that she needs. Last year, the system-wide Health Career Council was very instrumental, as well as our DSIR team, Decisions Report in Institutional Research. So that is a piece that we are going to be working on in the coming weeks. The updates from Student Affairs, Dr. Tamara O'Day Stevens asked me to let you know that the SAC survey feedback from the Senates has been received and reviewed, and the IRB process has begun. The CSCU professional development has numerous sessions being offered, including emerging leaders programs, and the monthly PLC leadership presentations are happening. And lastly, she wanted to note that the HR1 subcommittees have been established. Co-chairs for those 4 subcommittees have been assigned, and the HR1 chair from Western, Melissa Stevens, has reached out to Senate leadership to ask for faculty representatives for those committees as well. And that is all of the updates that I have from academic and student affairs. If any of the regions have questions on either of those, I'm happy to answer anything that I can.
Questions or comments from the regions? Seeing none, I think it's time, unless I've made another mistake here, for the most popular motion of the day. Is there a motion to adjourn the ASA meeting?
Ira, I'll make that motion, but I also want to repeat something you said earlier, and Juanita as well. These meetings are really great, and I feel at the end of each of these meetings that we are making progress, and I wish that more people understood what's going on behind the scenes in terms of academic and student affairs. So I just want to say thank you. But I'll make that motion too.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll second.
Second. Again, I want to thank everybody, and I very much appreciate each month as Regent Porth just said, the contributions that the provosts make to this enterprise. They're a key part of our structure, and if the campuses are not working properly, we don't have an enterprise, and that's a major. The academic side of this is a responsibility of the provost, and I think we have a really fine group of provosts. So I think that's something to be proud of. All those in favor of the motion to adjourn?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion adjourn is passed. The meeting is hereby concluded.
All right, folks, the live
So
stream
thank everybody.
Thank you.
The live stream should be off.
the live